table, we are ready for a new DIY. Of course, we're going to use the tumbling tile blocks, the smaller blocks. Of course, you can use any type of blocks. I have here a container with everything inside, some scissors, markers, brushes, some twine, some mud pots, some filts, and of course my wood glue. Of course, you can use some hot glue. With this DIY, you can use some hot glue because it is very massive, so it doesn't break very easy. So with this DIY, you can use hot glue. Of course, normally you also can, but I don't recommend it. Of course, some paint at your choice. And I have here a piece of dowel. You see, this is not a very one. I think maybe 2 or 3 millimeters wide of thick. And of course, I have here my old saucer with an old piece of kitchen towel to wipe away the glue. These are, and of course, before I almost forgot the wood filler, because this is flexible wood filler and this is easy to use. So I will see how this will turn out. What we're going to try to make is we're going to make kind of a caramel apples. We will see how maybe apples, marshmallows. I don't know really how it will turn out, but you see that in a moment. I hope you join me. So the first step will be, because we want to make everything from the tumbling tile blocks, and of course normally you can use a round piece, but we are going to try to let it look round even when it is a square. We have here 2 rows of 4 blocks and 3 rows of 3. So very easy. We're going to do the longest line of the block, the smallest line, and over here we're going to make a nice row, and we're going to row them together. And this number 4 is the closure up. This is already number 1, number 2, and number 3, and number 4 is the closure up. And we do here the same, and this one. And here you only have to glue 2 pieces, and number 3 is the closure up, and the last already. And we're going to squeeze it, and we're going to squeeze this one. And of course, like I tell you every DIY, if you have a carpenter's square, it's totally fine. I do it always with my fingers because I like that better, and I can feel what I'm doing. But I have one laying around, but I don't use it. But if you like it and you are a real common with it, just use it, because then you make nice straight lines, and that's what we want. But if you get a little bit of more DIYing in your fingers, then you will see that you can feel it easy also with your fingers. And we're going to give this a couple of minutes drying. So now we have our 2 pieces of 4 and our 3 pieces of 3. What we're going to do, we're going to glue them together, because we want to use also as less blocks as we can. So we're going to glue this one over here against this one. We do here also some glue on the underline over here. Maybe I can show it to you a little better, just under, and you just place it against here. If everything is correctly, these 3 are perfect fitting to each other. You're going to give it a little bit of pressure. What you're going to do right now, you're going to do with the block of 4, you do some line on the inside. On this side, you do it over here under, and you go up on this piece. You see, very easy. And you're going to place this one straight up against here and give it a little bit of pressure. You do here, of course, the same. You just do on the side, you go around, and of course to the top, and of course we need under a little bit more. And now we're going to place this one on this side, and you're going to give it some pressure, and we're going to let this dry in for a couple of minutes. So now we have 2 pieces of 5 blocks, so 2 rows we're going to make from 5, and again we're going to do the longest line, and we're going to row them also together until 1 piece. And this will be a little bit of a different kind of because I'm going to make a riser, but it will be a little bit more different than maybe normally. So I'm going to squeeze it, press it together, and we do here the same, squeeze it and press it together, because we also need a riser, because I want to have one a little higher than the other one. Again, over here, we're going to wipe away the glue, and we go back and we're going to make the straight line again, and we're going to give it a couple of minutes drying. So I gave both of them a couple of minutes drying. I'm going to place one on the side, and of course he is not totally dry, he still can break, but just easily place it together again. So this can happen that it breaks off, so don't worry, just place it together like this, squeeze it, and you're going to place this one against here, and we're going to fill in very gently the open gaps, and this will make sure that you feel on the side. And we're going to give this also a couple of minutes drying. So we gave this also a couple of minutes. What we're going to do, we do some glue on the top of this one, but a little more to the inside over here. And now we're going to turn it over, and we're going to place it on top of here, and we're going to let it fall down, and we're going to look if we have it on both sides the same, and give it some pressure. And then we're going to let this dry in for a couple of minutes. So this is how the riser is turned out. Of course, we're going to turn it over, and now this is our riser, and it's a very massive piece, so you can easily paint it in the color, and you can use it everywhere in your decor. You don't even have to use it for this DIY, and you can also make this one longer, and then you can make them in different sizes. So I'm place this aside for painting later. What we're going to do now, we're going to make the marshmallow, the first size. For the first size of the marshmallow, caramel, apple, you can make everything from it. We are going to use 4 rows of 4. So 4 rows of 4 blocks. We have 2 rows of 6 blocks, and we have 1 row of 3 blocks. So very easy, we're going to do the longest line, and we're going to place them all together. And this is already a one piece, and I do only this one together with you, so don't worry, it won't be only gluing and, and waiting. But for everyone who wants to see how it is made, I always do this version also. And again, the last of 4, and we're going to row them together. Now we get 1 of 6, and I do it as fast as I can. If you're going to make this, or if you already made earlier in your own DIY, sugar apples or caramel apples or marshmallows, let me know in the comment down below. I would love to hear how you made it, because everyone makes them differently. I never made this kind of piece, so, and especially not from the tumbling towel block. So we will see how this will turn out. Maybe this is one disaster and it doesn't work. So again, 4 pieces of 4, 2 of 6, and 1 of 3. So we're going to squeeze it together. We're going to row this one together and squeeze it to the sides. Again, over here, and squeeze it. We do also the pieces of 4, and this is number 2, and a number 3, and the last already number 4. And I'm going to give it a couple of minutes. I'm going to wipe away the glue and then let it dry a couple of minutes. So we gave them a couple of minutes drying. What we're going to do, we're going to take the 4 pieces of 4. We're going to turn 2 of them this way, and we're going to do some glue on the underside, and we're going to place them together. We do here the same, do some glue on the underside, and we're going to turn them, and we're going to fill in the open gaps as much as we can. And we do here the same, squeeze it, and make sure that you have a nice straight line. And you're going to wipe away the glue, and you're going to give it again a couple of minutes drying. So what we're going to do right now, we take the 2 pieces of 6, we place number 3, the 1 of 3 in the middle. We're going to do some glue on the underside over here, and we place this one over here. We do here the same, some glue on the underside, And we're going to place this one over here. And again, give it a little bit of pressure, not too much. We're going to do this one, and of course we're going to turn it over, and we do some glue from this line until under to the top. Kind of a U you're going to make. We're going to place this one straight up, and we're going to place this one over here. We do here the same. We're going to turn it over, and we're going to make a nice line around it, over here and under and to the top and over here. And we're going to place this one over here on this side, and we place this one on here, and then we're going to give it a little bit of pressure, not too much first, because we're going to work with it and feel with our fingers, because this one is sticking out a little piece because he's not totally the same size. And now we're going to give it some pressure, and we're going to let this dry in for at least a couple of minutes. So in the meantime, while this piece is drying, and this is how he's looking like. So you have here the 6 blocks on top of each other. Here you have the 2 doubles of 4, and the 3 is of course on the underside. So we're going to let this dry. I'm going to get my dowel, and I'm going to get my marker, and I'm going to look for a little, this you don't have to, it doesn't come on the centimeter. You can do the stamp as long as you like. I think I'm going to go for this one over here, and I'm just going to go a little bit around, and I'm going to go to my garage. And of course you can do this with a cutter. You also sometimes have this kind of tools, you can cut it. Of course I'm going to saw it out, and of course I'm going to use only this little piece. So you see, this is the piece I'm going to use. I'm going to place it beside this first size of my marshmallow. I don't even know if I'm going to make a caramel apple of a marshmallow. I don't know, we will see. But the sizes are just the same. You just paint it differently. So the choice is up to you what you want to make. So I'm going to now do the bigger size. So for the biggest size, we're going to use the bottom, which will be later the top. Is 4 blocks, so we're going to glue 4 blocks together this way, and we make 1 row of it. So we're going to squeeze it. We're going to get a loose block over here, and we're going to place this one to the side, and then you see already we have a little corner open. So we get a loose block, we place this over here, we're going to get our marker, and we're going to make little pieces, and so we're going to the garage, and we're going to cut off this little corner. So it's easy, just glue this together and then place this in, and you can easily get your marker and make the line you want. So you see, we have here our little piece, and this is the only piece we need to cut, so don't worry, it's only this piece. What I'm going to do, I'm going to make sure that I glue this side and this side, and we're going to, you see, place it in here, and we're going to make sure that everything is fitting nicely. And of course, this little opening, you don't see it later anymore because there will be some wood filler over it. So don't worry, because it is always very hard to get it exactly fitting. So we are going to let it dry in for at least a couple of minutes. We are going now to do the sides. So we are going to start with the 2 sides, which are 5 blocks. So it is 6 blocks of 5. So we're going to start with 6 blocks of 5. We do only the longest line again, and we row them very easy together this way. So of course, I promised you I won't do everything together with you. So this one I'm going to do a little bit faster. Of course, I have to make this off before I can go out the camera. already we have now our 6 pieces of 5 and I squeezed them, wiped away the glue. What we're going to do right now, we are going to turn them over this way and this way. Of course, they are not totally dry yet, so don't worry. Like I told you earlier, if they fall apart, you do some glue on the sides, on the top side of the block. You do here the same on the top side of the block, and you place them together, and you do this one also. And you're going to gently squeeze it on the side to fill in the open gaps. So like this. You're going to do here the same. Do on the top side of the blocks, you do some glue. You do here the same also. And we're going to place it down. And we could fill it in with the last one. And again, gently squeeze from the top and this way. And make sure that you have a nice straight line, and we're going to wipe away the glue this way, like this. And then we're going to give it a couple of minutes rest, and now we're going to, in the meantime, do the other part. So in front of me are the pieces drying right now for the other side, and I'm going to do now the other 2 sides, because we need, of course, 4 sides. We're going to do 6 rows of 4. So also with this one, you're going to glue the longest line and you're going to place them together this way. Very easy. And I'm going to do also this only together with you. And I'm going to do the rest again a little faster. So now we have our 6 blocks of 4 and we're going to turn them this way, the same like we did with the pieces of 4. We're going to do the tops of the blocks with some glue, and we do here the same. Make sure that every block has a little bit of glue, and we're going to place them together, fill in the open gaps and feel with your fingers that the sides are as flat as you can get them. Over here, this is 1. And number 2, and we're going to make sure that we squeeze them together, because this one needs a little bit more of squeezing, you see already. Over here, and we do it again. And most of the time, if you have patience, it works. My patience is not always the greatest, so this is most of the time my problem, because I want to do it too fast. And again, we're going to let this dry in for also a couple of minutes. So if everything is correctly, you have also this square. You have 2 pieces of 4 rows, 3 rows together. And here the same also with the 5 block. What we're going to do, we're going to place some glue on the underside over here. And we're going to place this straight up over here. And we're going to squeeze it. We do here the same with the one of 4 blocks on the underside. And we're going to place this one straight up also. And we're going to give it some pressure and feel with your fingers that you have them in a straight line over here. What you're going to do with this one, of course, you're going to make a W of a U, not a W, but a U. Over here, you're just going to go around the lines. You go to the underside and you go to the side, to the top again. And again, you're going to get it up and you're going to place it over here. This is already 1. And give it a little bit of pressure, not too much. We do here the same. We do just in the line of the side. You're going to go on the underside. Of course, I make one big mess out of it. Oh my, oh my. But it is always, you already know me, it is always a big mess. So I'm going to place it over here. And then going to squeeze it to the underside and the side. And we're going to, if we have the lines we need, we're going to let it rest for at least, now I think 20 minutes. So in the meantime, while this is drying, we're going to get our dowel again, and I'm just going to get my marker and I'm going to cut off a little piece of this stem, because I do this one a little bit bigger than the other one, because this one size is also a little bit bigger. So I'm going to cut off in my garage, I'm going to cut off this little piece. So you see, I did this one is a little bit bigger, not too much, I think a centimeter of 2-3, but you can choose anything you like. So in a moment I'm going to go, of course, get my smaller size, and I'm going to do the smaller little dowel, and I'm going to glue this one in the middle. So I'm going to do some glue because I want to be that it is very sturdy before I'm going to work with my wood filler. So I'm going to place this on top of here. Of course, in a moment I'm also going to do this one. So I turned over also the big one, and I'm going to place this one in the middle. And I'm going to let it stand and let it dry on its own. And then we're going to go to work with our paint and wood filler. So now both of our pieces are dried up. Also the stamp on top is dried up. What I'm going to do, I'm going to show you only with the bigger one, or else you get very bored. I have here my wood filler. I have here an old piece of little tray where I always do my wood filler on top. And I have two brushes, a bigger one and a smaller one. What I'm going to do, I'm going to do some wood filler on top of here to look like it is we call it glazuur. I think you call it glazed, if I'm correctly, but at least it has to give a nice kind of a frosting, not just depending on what you are going to do with it. Of course, I do the wood filler in this color because this dries very fast. If you have a wood filler which is drying not too fast, you can do some coloring inside of your wood filler and then mix it and then place it on top of here. Because if you make an apple, you can make later this red, and you can do the wood filler maybe in green. You can make, of course, a gingerbread piece, do this later in brown, and do the top in the cream color or maybe another color. You can go as crazy as you like, but my wood filler is drying very fast. This is a very cheap brand. It's only $1.99 if I'm correct, and not even €2 if I'm correctly. So, or maybe 2.5. I have to think, but it's really a cheap one. So I'm going to do very easy. For the first step I'm going to do, I'm just going to place something on this corner, on this corner, on this corner, and on this corner. And then I'm going to go to work already, because I have to close it up every time because he dries up very fast. And I'm just going to go over and just make a little bit to the stamp. So the stamp is also going inside of the wood filler because we want to have it closed up. Oh, you see already my brush is letting loose. oh, this is always DIYing with obstacles. And again, just make a little bit of a space on top of here. And you're just going to turn it. This is so much fun to do. I can work all day with wood filler because I really enjoy this one. I like making a mess. Maybe that's the point. So I'm going to do some wood filler on top of here because we need to make it go down. So we do some over here. We're going to close up, and we're going to do very easy. We take it in our hands and we just do around and just make little dots going down, because that it looks like that is running off the side. And again, it is a little bit of a task, but I always say take your time for it. It's so relaxing, so you can do it all day. And we're going to go around. We start especially with the corners. We have to let it run down, and of course for the bigger you can let it run down more than for the smaller one, because you still need to make a face later. So I'm going to do also on this side, and I'm going to let it run down a little bit more light to this side. And now I'm going to turn it and fill it up over here, and just do whatever you think is right, because this is no right or wrong, or maybe someone does it different. This is just something you like. Oh, my brush is already going down, and I'm going to make sure that I have enough because this is drying really fast. So I'm going to go down this side and over here and again, and then later I'm going to go back and I'm going to look for where I still need to make some wood filler, and you see a little over here and let it go down, also over here this way, and we're going to do it over here. And now we already did go around, and now we're going to look for which space we still need to give a little bit more or a little more drop down. Over here we're going to do this one, let it go down. We do over this one, we're doing a little piece going down, and now the other one over here, so it looks more like some glazed piece. And everything we have on the table, we are going to use it and let it run over. So of course I think you already know now how to do it, and of course I hope you have so much fun making this, because it is really so much fun to do. So I'm going to finish this off, and of course also the smaller one, and then we're going to do the next step. So you see already how both of them turned out, and I'm going to let them dry. In the meantime, I'm going to paint already my riser. You can use the riser, of course, this way, but you also can turn it over and just use it kind of a stand. So I'm going to get my creamy color, and I'm going to make this in the creamy color, but you can spray paint it in gold, silver, copper, brown, every color you like, just depending on your decor. You could also use it for the fall and do it in the orange color. So I'm going to do it in the creamy color. So I take my time for it, of course. And then we're going to go further with our marshmallows. So of course my riser is also drying. I did get out my bag with some googly eyes in different sizes, but of course I'm not going to use them as googly eyes. I'm going to place them on top of here, and I'm going to do two different sizes, two smaller ones for the smaller marshmallow and the bigger ones for the bigger marshmallow. Of course I'm going to paint this googly eyes in the black color, because I like them in the black color. So it's very easy, you just go over it and just paint them in the black color and let them dry in. Of course, you can also paint them yourself on top of there, but I'm not going to, because I painted, and if I'm going to mess it around with some black on top of there, it can go totally wrong, especially with me. So I'm going to go for, at least for the googly eyes, painted, but of course now I already have the shape in the round. So of course now we have our first marshmallow, and what we're going to do, this is not totally dry yet, but I'm going to get a small brush like this, very small, and I'm going to carefully just go inside with my creamy color until here, and then we're going to go down. We don't come with the wood filler. Of course you can wait a little longer until your wood filler is dried up, but I'm going to paint under my wood filler and make sure that everything is in the creamy white color. But if you, like I told you, if you're going to make an apple, you're going to do this one in the maybe red color, and maybe do the topping with some brown color. Do whatever you think is right. So first I'm going to carefully with my small brush, so in between around the wood filler. So not in the wood filler, but around. I show you in a moment. I will show it to you a little better in the camera. So like this. So I'm going to go around and around, so that I don't have to wait until it is totally dried in. So now I have both of my marshmallows in the creamy color. What I'm going to do, because I want to give it a little bit of a texture on top of the paint, so I'm going to get my thing, and I'm going to again take some paint, and I'm going to go a little just wild over this piece, so it gets some texture from your paint, because I want to let that it looks also a little bit like a real marshmallow and not like the blocks anymore. So we're going to go over and we're going to dab it and make sure that we get some nice texture on the marshmallow itself. So now I gave some texture to the piece, and of course now I'm going to do also the top in the creamy color, but you don't have to do it. You can do any color you like, and then we're going to give the wood filler some rest, and then we're going to paint the wood filler also, because we don't leave it this color, but now we do first this color, and then we're going to do the rest. So you see already I have here my bigger piece, because I don't do both of the pieces together with you, because like I told you earlier, you will get very bored. What I'm going to do, I did mix up a little paint with the brown and white. Because this brown was for me a little bit too dark, so I did go for a little lighter color. So I'm going to get my brush, and I'm going to very gently start in the middle around my stem, and I'm going to make sure that I dab it with a little bit of thicker layers of paint. So just go over it and just dab it, and don't paint it this way, because mine is not totally dry yet. He is almost dry, but not totally. So, and I don't want to damage it. I'm going to dab it, and then you get every white piece you can. So I'm going to go, and I take my time very carefully around the stem. And in a moment I show you also a little bit how I did this side. So you see already how both of them turned out, and I'm really happy with the result. I think it looks really like chocolate, which is falling down with a little bit of frosting. I have here now my two bigger eyes, and I'm going to glue them on top of here, but you can place them anywhere you like. If you paint it, it's also fine. I'm just doing it with some hot glue. I'm going to glue them on top of here. So I have now the eyes on top of here. I'm going to get my pencil, and of course I'm going to take a little half round, and I fill it in with some black schoolboy paint, but very simple, just in half around. So I wanted to show you how simple it is, just in half around, and now I'm going to fill it in with some black schoolboy paint. So now I also have my mouth. What I'm going to do, I did a mix up a little bit of white with a little bit of red, so it gives a little bit of the pink color, very light pink. I'm going to dab my brush inside and dab it off, because I don't want to have too much. And on the sides I'm going to over here and make little rounds with the pink color, and I do the other one the same. I have to look for that I place it on the right spot over here, and I will do it a little bit better, but this is how it will look like. Of course we are going to do here, after this we're going to do the next step. So now I have of course his cheek in the pink color. Of course I hope you can see it. I already messed up a little. I have already the white paint over here, and I'm going to give a little dab on the eyes. So I'm going to use this paint because it's always unnecessary to throw it away. So I'm going to do some in the middle. I'm going to give a little, I think I'm going to want my brush a little more flat, so I'm going to give it a little dot over here, and of course on the other side the same. I will show it you in a moment. And you see, this is how he is looking like so far. And now the only thing what we're going to do, I'm going to give it on the top, I'm going to give it some ribbon, but you can decorate it totally further any way you like. You see in a moment the quick impression.